The Monte and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite four-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah.
The NWA heavyweight champion, and at the time you had to be able to go 60 as a babyface or a heel as a champion. And this guy had been around, and he was polite with everybody, but I wasn't intimidated. I didn't think I was good enough to even talk to him. But when that'd be like you're breaking in baseball and you're playing baseball with Babe Ruth, and you don't want to talk to Babe Ruth because you don't feel you're worthy of him. And that's the way I felt, was because I knew I was the shits, and I never thought I would stay in the business as long as I did here, of just talking shit and doing whatever.
Drew Wilson knows how to keep us on live here. Hey Rip, how you liking this 80-degree weather? It's $10 super chat.
This is the greatest weather we've had here today.
Opinions on Monte and the Pharaoh.
Oh yeah, I watch them on the internet a lot of times. They're really good. I like them. They have some great guests on there. I like their opinions. As a matter of fact, they're over with me. I watch them as much as I can, just as much as I watch Jimmy Cornette stuff, and that's probably the main two that I like. But then again, I like James. I like to watch James's stuff, and then God, I see the guy. I've been on his show, but I can't. The dark-haired guy, this and that. But anyway,
I've never heard of Monte and the Pharaoh.
Yeah, they're good. You can Google.
They wrestling?
Yeah, it's all about wrestling stuff.
Oh.
Jimmy Jam, what's up, baby?
What's going on? Back again.
Back again at 9:30 at night. I want to thank everybody for joining us on this Thursday night. Real quick, we didn't get to talk about it. How do you like that little Rip Rogers thing, man? What are your thoughts on that?
I love that. Thank you, Rip Rogers. That felt nice. I had just heard that for the first time. Enjoyed that.
Pretty good company put us in with Jim Cornette, I was thinking, right? Nothing like putting us over, right?
Yeah. Who's the last?
Am I allowed to say putting us over, by the way? Huh?
Well, he said they're over with me. That was one of the nicest things anybody's ever said about us. I'll take that. That's cool.
It's a lot of people that say a lot of nice things about us.
Yeah. I'm so casual about it too. I'm like, oh, that was nice. Thank you. That's cool. Want to have a beer?
Thank you. Thank you, Rip. Thank you, Rip Rogers. Thank you so much.
Who's the last guy he was trying to figure out? He's like, I see the face and dark hair. He's not talking about that schlub Hannibal, is he?
I don't think so. I don't think anybody likes Hannibal. Oh, dude, by the way, I meant to tell you that Hannibal was going to Vegas, right? Because everybody was there for WrestleMania. And like I said, next year, you and I gotta put the kitty together and go to New Orleans, run a couple live podcasts over there, interview wrestlers over there. We gotta start doing the circuit because we lose momentum. So all the podcasts go there. That anyway, the legit ones anyway. So. Right. Hannibal's so light that someone ran him over day one. He had to come home.
Ran him
this
over?
This is a true story. Ran him over with a car.
Well, we saw Stone Cold's driving skills this past weekend. Did he run Hannibal over?
Let me ask you something. When Stone Cold ran into that wall, did you think, lawsuit, lawsuit.
Yeah. Several times over the weekend there was some sloppy shit going on. Whoops. Oh well,
Well,
I can see.
at
I can
first I
see
thought
him.
to myself, "Oh my,
I can see him
good,
backing over Hannibal. What? You just backed over Hannibal? Who?
dude." He was like pretty. He was pretty beat up. His head was all scratched. He was all
Yeah.
roughed up, man.
It's not good. It's not good. That guy's gonna have season tickets for the rest of his life, huh?
Dude, I am telling you that people went running over that fan. They're gonna have a lawsuit. No doubt.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Jason Morning in the house. Jason, how are
What
you?
up?
The beautiful First Lady of Wrestling, Maria Davis, in the house.
Maria. What up?
My friend, Mitch Seinfeld. How to
What's up,
sing
Mitch?
shalom. Shalom, Jimmy. Shalom.
It's nice to say shalom, shalom, shalom. Go on. I digress.
Jay Will in the house. Our buddy Jay Will,
Hey,
the
Will.
Rock in the
What up?
house. Who else we got here? Phil DeCesare, the president,
Mr.
has also
President.
joined us. In fact, Phil asked me if I was the third man behind the wheel in Vegas, and it was
The third.
reported that an overweight bald guy ran over Hannibal, but I wasn't there. So, unfortunately or fortunately, I can't be tagged
Wow.
with the man who ran over Hannibal.
Interesting. So was Lennon referring to you as the holy roller and come together? Very interesting.
Very good,
Wow.
Jimmy.
Wow.
You know what? That's a humor that only few people could get.
Well,
Let me
that's
tell
too
you
bad
something.
for the rest of you. Look it up. You might get a chuckle. Go on, Mike.
I got it. I thought it was funny. RJ Hudson, how are you?
RJ, what
Let's
up?
see what else we got
What's
here.
up?
We have Rocco Stone 98. How you doing,
Rocco.
buddy?
Nice. What's
All
going
right,
on?
so that's the roll call for right now, Jimmy. So
All
let's
right.
open up with a few things. Coming
Yeah.
off of the Holly Von Erich interview, thoughts, sir? What was your thoughts?
Oh, very, very good gal. Very real, very personal. Handled all these tough questions, really emotional. I don't know how people that are born, look, she was born into it, right, Mike? I mean,
Yeah.
she's born into this, like, the pressure had to be immense. And she described what she's been through and how she's handled it exquisitely. What a great guest. And I love the fact that, look, we've been doing this for years, just like I'm sure you enjoyed when I got to talk with Valentine. I enjoy any time we get to talk to a Von Erich because I see the most important trait that made us friends over 40 years ago, your love, real love for professional wrestling, because you love the Von Erichs the way I love
Yes.
Valentine,
Yes,
so
yeah.
that's what makes it even better for the things we've been doing over the years when I see something like that. So that was just a great experience. I was nervous, right? I called you earlier.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I was
know.
nervous too. You were nervous. I was nervous.
yeah.
I gotta tell you, Jimmy, you're right. It makes me feel good. Like the one way I'll equate it is when you and I were doing the Bob Backlund interview. Now we've interviewed
Yeah.
tons of great stars, no one less than the other. We have respect for all of them. But when Backlund came in the studio, it was like dress right, straighten your shit out. Like don't get out of line. You know what I mean? Don't be Monte the Pharaoh. We're playing this one straight all the way through with Mr. Bob Backlund.
I still played the Pharaoh, especially when he came out there and stood on his head. I'm like, what are you doing?
Well,
I mean,
but you know what I mean.
I do. No, I do know what you mean. We were extra ready and wanted to do the right thing. And basically the right thing happened because Bob was just so great to get along with. Bob made it easy for us. Let's face it. He saw that we were very appreciative of him. He saw it. And he didn't try to overplay it or anything. He was like, well, these guys get who I am. And you know something? I still feel that was Bob's last great interview and appearance. And I'm very proud of that for us. That was great.
Jimmy, I agree with you 100%. That was look, Bob, I think, did one other interview. It was that wasn't even an interview. He was on A&E for like one of those WWE things. And they did a very short clip with him because he was already falling into the issues that he's suffering from now. So, no, that is, for all intents and purposes, is Bob Backlund's last interview.
Oh, it was great.
Let's just call it like it is.
It was great.
And you know what? We, again, not that not that it's a called a blessing, but we've had Butch Reed's last interview.
Yeah.
We literally had Billy Jack Haynes's last interview.
Yeah.
Again, the last interview we had with him was by phone, which, by the way, we don't play often. Maybe I should run that again on some of our social media.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember early on we could have had Nikolai Volkov, and Monty dropped the ball on that. I don't know what my problem was there.
That's
But
one of my saddest
we
memories. You know that, right, Mike? That's one of my
Yeah, I
saddest
do.
memories. For the folks at home, we were making an appearance at a convention, and we were tired. It was a long day, and we were getting ready to leave, and we were in leave mode. And as we're leaving, Nikolai Volkov is sitting at a table, almost like a scene out of The Wrestler, where he's just alone, sitting there, and no one's coming to his table. And like he looked at me. I remember him looking at me, and we made eye contact, and he looked so sad. And it bothered me. And I remember turning to you, and I'm like, Mike, you want to go over and say something to Nikolai? You're like, let's get the fuck out of here. The traffic's going to be horrible, which was all true. It was. We
Yeah,
were tired, and I felt really bad. And then he passed away, and I'm like, oh,
Well,
man.
Jimmy, I don't know if you
know.
remember this. In our first studio, we were going
Oh,
to have him, and I
right.
said, what are we going to talk to him about? And then he passed away like literally like a week later. Or how
How much?
about we talked? Go ahead, buddy.
Nah, how much was I protesting? I'm sure I was like, Mike, we
Oh,
get
yeah.
him on the show.
You
What the fuck?
you were not happy about it.
Right.
That was
Right.
early on, dude. I made so many mistakes early on. I can't forget the list is extremely long, but at least I admit to it, right?
Yeah.
Think about Tony. We mentioned the Tony Atlas. We would have Tony Atlas and Rocky Johnson's last and only interview together.
I know.
Like those guys were not, but then he passed away on it. Dude, we've had some very, very solid moments on the show, and for me personally to speak. Look, when I was at the big event, when it was a year and a half ago, whatever it was, when Kevin was there, I was sitting, whatever, we're meeting fans. I was with Sims and blah, blah, blah. And I'm watching Kevin, and I'm just watching. I'm like, you know what, man? I am not going to get an opportunity to ever meet this guy ever.
Right.
I'm just going. Like, after convincing myself, I got up there. Again, I think I spoke about this. 20 minutes that guy spent talking to me. I mean, listen, to me, the Von Erichs rock. You can't ever shake me off that tree. But the one question I wanted to ask you, and we've talked about this with music, and we've even talked about it with wrestling. Let it be Bray Wyatt, Ultimate Warrior. These guys become legends, but I always ask you, are they legends because they passed away? So I guess my question to you, Jimmy, if the Von Erichs didn't have such tragedy in their life, and say most of them were still alive, right? Because again, they would be, in their late 60s at this point. I think Kerry was 60, was born in 56 or 58. I think 58. So he would be like 67 at this point. Do you think the legends of the Von Erichs would be what they are now? Would there be a movie against them? Would they be people be in such awe of that family? Where would they stand if they didn't pass?
Well, here's the catch. I'll use a musical, since you brought up music. I'll use a musical comparative. David and Kerry and Kevin were going to be safe, legendary speaking, historically speaking, whether they, in Kevin's case, thank God he's still with us. But, in the other's case, whether they passed away or not, they were all going to be legends and still revered to this day. One way or the other, on a high level too, by the way. There would be lines for them, if you know what I'm saying. Big lines, okay? I believe that. David was a superstar. Kerry was a superstar. Kevin was a superstar. Mike, do you remember the band Badfinger?
I do.
Okay, they had some beautiful tunes and stuff, and they ended tragically with deaths and stuff like that. But for some reason, they are not given the love or attention that you would think most of the time happens when someone successful passes away. What I'm hammering home is Kurt Cobain, the Von Erichs, And yes, in today's day and age generation, Bray Wyatt, when you separate yourself and you are clearly sitting from the penthouse. Now, Badfinger was a wonderful band and had good success, but they weren't in the penthouse. They were not Led Zeppelin. Do you understand what I'm getting at? You know, and
Yes, I do.
there was not much of a rebellious factor like there would be with a free thinker like Bray Wyatt, the way he was creatively, or in the past with an Ultimate Warrior, a very egocentric, extreme case of a reckless individual. There's something strange about those kinds. Kurt Cobain living on the edge and then doing what he did. Uh, they're penthouse people. So long way around the rosy here. You know, when you're in the penthouse to begin with, yes. When you pass away, you're magnified even more. Jim Morrison's a great example, just like Kerry Von Erich at the top of his craft. Jim Morrison was a Greek god, for God's sakes. And when he passed away, it turned into what it is today. And you know what it is today with Jim. He's a freaking mystical legend. And that's what the Von Erich family is. Look, people seriously debate, and we asked Holly on the show, do you believe in the Von Erich curse? Because people seriously debate that as being a real thing. You know, so it's the
Yeah,
level
right.
it's the level you attained in life, and when you pass away, if it's a sad ending or a tragic ending or a fast lane ending like that, whether it's an overdose or a suicide, it really becomes magnified. In poor John Lennon's case, it's an assassination. He was forever eternal either way, but the way he was murdered, it launched him, if it's possible, even to a higher stratosphere of
To a
remembrance.
stratosphere. You know what you're
Yeah.
saying makes a ton of sense, Jimmy. It's like
Mm.
they're popular, they're super famous, they're iconic, but that one extra, I guess, the way they pass is
Yeah.
just puts them even beyond that level. I
Right.
guess it makes a
It
lot of
happens that way.
sense.
It happens
So
that
let
way.
me ask you. I'll ask you this again: would the Von Erich boys be iconic if it didn't end this way?
Yes, the three would be. Where the rest were going, it didn't look like they were going to go where they wanted to go. They weren't going to attain the heights of the three, one way or the other. But as far as their legacy, listen, I've said it to you before, and I believe it today. The Von Erich family is to wrestling, as a wrestling family, what the Dallas Cowboys are to this country. I believe that. The Von Erich
Sure.
family represents the Lone Star State, brother. I mean, bottom line, they are the Dallas Cowboys of professional wrestling in the history of this business. They're it. And I think that they were safe either way. It's terrible to have these tragedies. But again, this is a case where, unfortunately, well, maybe not unfortunately, they deserve to be remembered, but it launches them into a higher plane of remembrance. Sad but true.
So let me ask you this question: when we asked Holly, because there's a documentary on Max now that just came off. She called it A&E, so I guess it must have came from A&E or whatever. But
All right.
there's a point where her sister Lacey says it almost, when you're talking about the death of the family, she was talking about Fritz.
Yeah.
And she was like, was it worth it just to win the championship? If it was, congratulations. But she goes, it almost wasn't worth it. And I'm listening, because I like to listen to what people say because it's very telling. And when you use the
Mm-hmm.
word almost with me, I think to myself, like, okay, almost means are you not that you're happy that it happened, but you wouldn't be where you are if it wouldn't. Like, no one would be having documentaries about you and movies about you. So
Mm-hmm.
when we asked Holly, I thought Holly was very telling with it. She thought about it like anybody else would be, because she's thinking to herself, I'm imagining, like, if they don't all pass away, there's never a movie about these guys,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's not a
Mm-hmm.
million documentaries. Um, on and on and on. But then it's like I want my family, so yeah, no, it's not worth it. But I was impressed with the fact that she actually thought about it, because most people would be like, "Are you kidding me?" Blah 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 blah.
Well,
But
honestly, to hammer home the fact that their legacy was safe no matter what, I think that if they had lived, I'm very confident that a documentary would have come out on the Von Erich family, especially the three. One way or the other, I do think that if they had lived, they would have gotten a chance to finally maybe make some money from it. You know, they would have maybe had that chance. It's really sad to hear that how ripped off they got, with the movie. It's like, what? What the hell is that garbage? This is such a wicked world. You got somebody who had money and is a fan. I'm just going to call him out. I don't give a crap. You got somebody who's got money and is a fan, says he's a legitimate fan, and I don't deny that before he got into making the film, he was a legitimate fan. But when you dismiss the very point of origin that you're making the film about to family, and only bring them in at the last second to watch a little screening and give them a pizza pie and some dessert, I mean, what is wrong with you? I know you like the film very much, and I get why it would grow on you. It's got its own special charms, but it could have been so much better, and that's my criticism.
Jimmy,
of the film.
I'm 100% in agreement with it. Could have been so much better, but the one thing they got across in the movie was the love of the brothers. Again, I'll still stand by this. I understand it's a wrestling movie, so when I evaluate wrestling movies, right? To me, The Wrestler is not just the greatest wrestling movie ever.
The exception. It's the exception.
It's just a great movie.
Yeah.
That needed the wrestling because the wrestling told the story about the character. Right. The Von Erich story didn't need all that. It's like you didn't need it.
Well, I'll tell you why you say that, and I agree. I agree that you say that about what we've been shown in this film. All right, but if you really wanted to talk about the family and you wanted to talk about your favorite one of them all, Kerry, if they had done convincing wrestling scenes the way The Wrestler is convincing. Listen, if they had bad wrestling scenes in The Wrestler, Mickey Rourke can't save that. Even his great performance can't save that. If there's terrible wrestling in The Wrestler, it doesn't fucking work. Okay? What if they had good scenes, good wrestling scenes in the Iron Claw, and then showed Kerry afterwards in pain and popping pills and doing the things he was doing to try to compensate the pain, I could see that. But they handled all the in-ring wrestling like garbage. And of course, I had the same opinion you had. You are even more passionate to tell the story of the family. You know what? If that's the wrestling you're going to give us, then wipe it all out and tell us more of the story of the family.
And I agree with what you said and what Holly was saying. It's like, A24 is a huge production studio, right? And it's like you made a lot of money off this family, right? And I remember listening to that's Marshall and Lance Von Erich. I think it's Lance, right? I got his name right? Ross. It's Ross Von Erich. I'm such a fucking idiot. But anyway, it's Ross and Marshall. So they told the story where Kevin was doing shows like actual like shows in Texas, not wrestling. He couldn't even put Christmas gifts under the tree. So here you are making all this movie with all this money. You got to throw the family some money. What are you doing?
I don't know.
It's crazy. And here's my next question to you. Triple H, Shawn Michaels, they grew up on Texas wrestling, right? Shawn Michaels definitely did, right? Triple H loved it.
Right.
Why wouldn't you bring these two in and build some other faction like the Freebirds and try to rekindle that fire? Or is it too late for the Von Erichs?
I just wonder if it's a cornered gimmick, the Western guys. When was the last time you've seen anyone presented the way Terry Funk, like a Western badass, Texas badass, or any of the old school guys, or a Manny Fernandez? They don't do it no more. When was the last time you saw like a big Bobby Duncan or Stan Hansen or being presented that way? Dude, it's gone. And would I like to see the Von Erichs? Yeah, bring it back. I'd love to see that come in, but it doesn't seem to be part of their philosophy anymore. To have that character kind of background. I don't know why, but as I'm pointing out, you can see that it's gone. Where is it?
No,
they don't have that.
I mean, I think they were in Ring of Honor or some shit. They were 6-man tag team champions with our buddy Dustin for a little while.
So Tony has them, and he's got them in Ring of Honor. That's brilliant, Tony. You're a real big thinker.
Dude, I gotta tell you, if I was a booker, I would bring them in and try to restart a feud and see how it works. I mean, you could actually bring Michael Hayes, not out of retirement, but he could, like, you get these two guys that kind of look like Michael Hayes. He could act like they're his kids. You know what I
Right.
mean? Who knows what you could get out of that?
Well, why can't
Or
you
do you
just
think old
package them
school
as?
wrestling's
Why
just dead?
can't you just package them as Von Erichs and let them fucking wrestle? Good God. Does everybody have to have a Prince entrance? I mean, seriously. Let them go fight. Let them go fist it out, you know?
Want to announce next Thursday on Monte The Pharaoh, the first time on Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, WCW The Maestro. And the Maestro very pumped to be on Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, as we are eventually becoming the most popular pro wrestling broadcast, not just on YouTube, but on audio and on cable TV, where over 150,000 people still continue to watch us. And we made our first appearance this season on Dark Side of the Ring on the Tony Atlas one, and we'll be back on the Billy Jack Haynes one. But Jimmy, thoughts on the Maestro?
Well, any music gimmick I always got a chuckle out of, you know, the Maestro, and who was the dude that like changed himself to Prince or something like that? That was a completely boy. WCW was really silly back then, weren't they?
They were pretty silly, dude.
They were pretty silly. I always got a kick out of the Maestro, though. I mean, I found him to be the gimmick was
I am really
so silly that I liked
I
it.
am really
I like silly.
I am really looking forward to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I wonder how you come up with that in the first place, but we're gonna find out more next week. Like, you know, how do we get the Maestro anyway?
He's promoting the shit out of it, dude. So it's going to be a great interview.
Nice.
All right, let's talk about a few things. Got a lot to talk about, right? But first, I want to talk about our friend Ron Shaw.
Okay.
Ron most recently threw out the first pitch at a ball game out in Florida.
What was he doing?
Ron has a video on it.
What gave him that idea? Was he watching the baseball bums, Mike? Cheap plug.
They could have been watching the baseball bums.
Yeah.
They actually reached out to Ron, and you know, Ron's a very popular figure in those points. And you got to remember something: Ron Shaw was the only man to defeat David Sammartino by submission. Right?
There you go.
One of the greatest.
Beat him up too.
But Ron holds a special place in my heart, from the time he did the show and got all pissed off at me and had his meltdown, to the point that, you know, he still tells me to this day he gets asked about that quite often. And then the fact that Ron came on again and we kind of made up, and then he came on again and kind of lit into our boys Roman Mancini, which I loved. I mean, let me ask you something. A guy like Ron Shaw, Johnny Rods, Jose Estrada, when I give you names like this, where does Ron fall on your list for it, for lack of a better term, enhancement talent? And, you know, use the Mulkeys or whoever else you want to use in the NWA.
You know what? Forget enhancement talent. Like the names you just mentioned to me, okay? I would rather watch those guys any day. And I don't care if this is not fashionable to say. All three names you mentioned to me, I'd rather watch them than a Ricochet match any fucking day. Yep. Sorry, folks. I'll take Ron Shaw doing his thing back in the early 80s, late 70s, Johnny Rods. I'll take that shit any day over watching Ricochet. Sorry. You know? I'm serious, you know.
I gotta tell you something, dude. Ricochet is trying his fucking hardest.
Yeah, that's why I brought him up.
Really trying his hardest to.
That's why I brought him up. Because he's a salty little bitter bird, isn't he? He's salty.
I'm sorry, dude, but he just does not have good mic skills, in my opinion.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have the it factor at all. I mean, I don't even know what the fuck his problem is. He was paid well. He's a wonderful in-ring wrestler, but it's gymnastics, and I don't want to see gymnastics. I want to see a story told to me. You know, Ron Shaw, Johnny Rods, Jose Estrada. You know, those guys told stories in the ring. Johnny Rods was a weasel, and he was a big weasel. Ron Shaw was a big brute. You know, and it's funny too in real life. By the way, this was freaky. I'm at a chicken place today to pick up dinner for me and Karen, and this guy walked in. And I swear to God, he looked just like Ron Shaw. I thought to myself, is this Ron Shaw? I was like, I better make sure before I walk over, though, you know? And then he turned sideways and he had Jimmy and he turned sideways and he had Jimmy Durante's nose, so I knew right away this isn't Ron Shaw. I'm like, all right, it's not Ron Shaw. But
I got to tell you, I remember when we were watching wrestling when we were younger, when Ron Shaw wore that executioner mask. I was told when anyone donned the mask, when anyone put a mask on, I was totally into them, man. It was like,
yeah,
he could have went really far with that executioner thing with Ron. I think.
He's a big dude too. I mean, you always felt like he had a shot. See, that was
Yeah.
you know, if you're talking talent enhancement back when we were kids and different levels of it, he was on the top level with Johnny and Jose, right? I mean, when Frankie Williams was definitely a lesser level of talent enhancement, and guys even worse. Remember Jack Carson? Here comes Jack Carson. Like the guy was like, I'm like, oh shit, you know, like here comes the Cobra Clutch challenge. Who's challenging? We're both excited. Out comes Carson. I'm like, oh boy. I think that's where the Cobra Clutch challenge started with a guy like Jack Carson. Blip, I quit. You know, I was like, okay, here we go. We got to start building this up. Then it was Johnny Rods. Johnny Rods actually almost.
Wait a minute, Johnny did the Cobra Clutch challenge.
I saw, if I'm not mistaken, I got to see Johnny do it at the Comac Arena and like whatever. You know, they built it slowly. Rick McGraw came the closest. Do you remember that? Quick draw, Rick McGraw. That was good. He came close, like you know.
Was he the closest? Because I remember when he was getting to that level. Was he the closest?
He was the closest. He was the first one that figured out how to try to kick off the turnbuckle. But then Patterson was the one that, you know, so they built it. It was a slow rise. Like each guy got a little higher in rank as Sergeant did this. This was really well thought out. It was great. No
I always felt like they should have just went a little further than Rick McGraw, like put a really decent star in there. Maybe even have like a Bob Backlund get put in the Cobra Clutch challenge and not be able to get out. I don't know.
No, because you were building it towards Backlund, and the champion was always super protected back then.
Let me ask you this: the girl, what was the girl that was using that Sergeant Slaughter thing that got released? The one I liked in WWE last year or so. What was her name? The blonde, the hot blonde. If anyone remembers,
the girl, Lacey Evans.
She's on all social media now, like showing her boobies. Lacey Evans, thank you.
Lacey Evans, yeah.
I really felt if they would have done something with Lacey Evans, like a Cobra Clutch challenge.
Right.
It would have been pretty fucking good, I think.
Dude, they tried everything. I feel they pulled the plug too soon on that gimmick. I'll agree with that. But Lacey Evans just was not getting over. Nobody cared. You know? I mean, they tried for a long time with her, too. They tried different things besides the drill sergeant.
They worked it, but I really felt like if they would have did a Cobra Clutch challenge, it might have. Again, we're talking old school. Maybe the fans say, like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean?
I think the fans would have liked it.
You know, the days of the Master Lock and Cobra Clutch are over, right?
Well, they don't have to be. Somebody else has got to come up with a great submission hold. You know, that would
All right,
work.
Jimmy, are you ready for another episode of Just Shut Up and Wrestle?
Okay. Oh yeah. All right. Who do we got this time? Who's the big mouth besides us?
All right. So we opened up with Jordan Grace, right? Who fell through the ropes and almost broke her ankle. And then we had Matt Hardy trying to sing.
That was Jeff. Don't
Nutshell from Alice in Chains.
Yeah, that was Jeff doing that.
Jeff, I said Jeff, didn't I? Oh, all right.
No, I thought you said
Jeff.
Matt. I was like, don't do that to Matt.
I probably did, dude. I don't know. But what's the difference? I don't. Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, Matt, Jeff Hardy. Who knows?
Yeah.
This one is Shut Up and Wrestle. Busted Open's own co-host and AEW wrestler Thunder Rosa. Are you ready?
Oh God, I doubt it, but go ahead.
Thunder Rosa, where with your Strudy, Thunder Rosa, where with your Strudy, Thunder Rosa, where segments in my Patreon, that is cooking in my underwear, segments in my Patreon.
What the fuck?
What? What are you show? What? Cooking in my underwear?
Yeah.
Cooking in my underwear.
And by the way, I just want to play it again.
Thunder Rosa, where
come on, dude. Like, if that could be any more average woman's body, do you understand? It's like, I get the idea of cooking in your underwear if your body's smoking, but I mean, that couldn't be that smells average.
Hey, Mike.
I want you to look.
Check out my cinnamon rolls. Want to bake with me?
Wait a minute. Let's see if we see some cinnamon rolls. Hold on. I think we may. Hold on.
Thunder Rosa. Where? With your Strudy. Thunder Rosa. Where? With your Strudy. Thunder Rosa.
You know what's funny? What's funny? About 30 years from now, she's going to be able to hold like a stapler in between the wrinkles on her tushy. I'm just saying. Why?
Dude, there's some cheese on that behind. That's for sure.
You know. Great.
What do you mean, well? That's a fucking wrestler, dude. They're supposed to be in great shape. I mean, come on. I mean, in body shame, but seriously?
Listen, she's cooking in her underwear. What? What?
Nothing smells more desperate than some chick
cooking in her underwear? Looking like that?
Her underwear. And how is Tony Khan okay with that? Like, how's he okay with that? That's my talent right there. He's cooking in my underwear.
He's probably in the next room in a bathrobe with Coke running down his nose, waiting for his pancakes. What are you talking about? I mean, probably. Dude, the inmates run the asylum. She's cooking in her underwear.
Listen, first of all, it was Charlotte Flair cooking in her underwear, Becky Lynch cooking in her underwear.
I don't want to see any of them cook in their underwear, bro. I mean, come on. Can't you just...
Are you serious? Really?
Yeah, I'm serious. I really am serious that when I go on the internet and I pick up my phone and I go to look, the first thing that does not come to my mind is I want to see Thunder Rosa make flapjacks in her underwear. So no. No, I don't think about shit like that. You know what I mean? My God, am I that weird that I don't think about
I don't disagree with you. The first thing when I pick up my phone, see if I can put it up right here.
Here we go.
I pick up my phone and I'm like, let me see with my camera here. I pick up my phone. I'm not looking for Thunder Rosa in her underwear, but I might be looking for Mandy Rose in her underwear. All right, to be honest with you.
Okay. All right. That's normal.
What does that mean?
No, it means that's normal for a guy. If you're gonna look at someone in their underwear, Mandy Rose is probably more.
Where with your Strudy. Thunder Rosa. Where with your Strudy. Thunder Rosa. Where segments in my Patreon that is cooking in my underwear. Segment.
Dude,
I just realized that I have a sexier waist. What's going on here? I'm like old. That's messed up.
Those are some childbearing hips, bro.
Wow. I thought I was mean.
Those are some childbearing hips, my friend.
That's rough. It's really rough. You know?
Not only is she a terrible co-host on Busted Open Radio, she's terrible.
Right.
She's terrible cooking in her underwear.
That's great. Is she going to host with LaGreca in her underwear? That's what I want to know. Maybe LaGreca will be in his Scooby-Doo underoos.
You know, Jimmy, I have a good idea about it.
What?
How about she just shuts up and wrestles?
Yeah, shut up. I'll go with shutting up and wrestling.
So far, on the 3 episodes we have, has there been a point where you were okay with the wrestler doing something different? Or was it shut up and wrestle?
These are like Halloween sequels that nobody asked for. Shut up and wrestle.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well done, sir. Well done. Let's read some comments before we get on to our next subject.
Next subject. Who's out there? What do you hear? What do you say? What do you hear?
What do you hear? We got B40 now. Let me see what they're talking about. You see, this is what sucks when I'm producing. I don't know. I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know what any of you guys are talking about. I can't even read it. I got to change my glasses. I don't know. I give up.
Do you need prescription glasses?
I do have prescription glasses, but like the glare off the thing. B40 says she in the right place, the kitchen, not the ring. LOL. Oh, B40. Wow.
I didn't realize Archie Bunker entered the room. What's up, Archie? Oh, jeez.
B40, I ask you if you came into your kitchen and Thunder Rosa was cooking in her underwear, would you go to McDonald's?
What? What? There's no checkers in town.
Whatever.
Oh,
It's like, hey, Fatto, I'm cooking in my underwear. Yeah, I'm going to McDonald's. Have a good day.
is that
Thank
supposed
you.
to be your Spanish Latino accent? That was horrendous. What was that?
Really? I thought it was pretty good.
Really?
I
Arriba,
don't
arriba,
know.
I'm cooking bacon for you.
RJ Hudson says he'd call the cops.
Stop filming me. I'm cooking in my underwear. Oh my God.
I'm sorry, dude. Is there
Horrible.
anything more desperate than that video?
You know,
right there?
while I am grateful for our partnership for the last 8 years, I'd like to politely as possible say fuck you to you for giving me this shit. What the fuck? I would never even know about Thunder Rosa cooking in her motherfucking underwear if it wasn't for you. Thanks.
Did you ever think when this first started, Jimmy was all pumped? He was going to talk about wrestling, maybe have some guests. It was going to be a great time. And instead, he's talking about Thunder Rosa cooking in her underwear.
Yeah, that's great. She couldn't just microwave a fucking Hot Pocket, huh?
That's pretty funny, man.
Jesus God
Thunder
almighty.
Rosa here, microwaving a Hot Pocket in my underwear.
That was wait a minute. That in my underwear. What? Who was that? That was better.
What's up with the tattoo on the ass cheek too? Like, what's the point?
I don't care about that. The tattoo itself is probably one of the few saving graces of that horror scene.
If you want a cheesy rose,
dude, you gotta do something to cover up that fudge muffin. I mean, if you're gonna put a little paint on that. At least there's a little paint on that.
But aren't you a little shocked considering that she's a pro wrestler, that her body is as cheesy as it is?
No.
Look, I'm nothing special, but I'm just trying to say I'm not a pro wrestler, right? And I'm not trying to body shame, but it's like, you don't see me walking around on YouTube or Facebook or Twitch with my shirt off. I mean, please, I'm
right. It would be really cool if like Awesome Kong came in her underwear and splashed her on the frying pan. What do you think?
By the way, Awesome Kong's pretty good looking, man. She's not too bad.
You do need new glasses. Please get them.
So last night on Dark Side of the Ring, the great superstar Billy Graham episode was on.
All right.
So I'll give you a few things that I learned. Billy Graham obviously was a preacher. That was his first calling, and then he ends up becoming a bodybuilder, and he gets involved in like massive amounts of steroids, right? Clearly, we know that's going on.
Yeah.
And then he ends up going to Minneapolis under the AWA, which Mitch Seinfeld told me that he was over in the AWA. I don't remember that, at least from what I've read, but Mitch said, hey, I wasn't around. He was over. And he was over again in Florida. I do not remember him being over in Florida, but I'll let you speak to that. Yeah. Graham ends up going to the WWE, where he becomes the interval champion, right, between Bruno and the eventual champion Bob Backlund. And it's all part of Vince Sr.'s plan. But, somewhere along the line, superstar Billy Graham ends up getting pretty over as a heel. And you and I spoke about Jimmy. He had it. He had the talk. He had the body, and he wasn't. They were talking about his wrestling on the show, Jimmy, and Jim Cornette's like he wasn't a good wrestler. I disagree. I thought he sold great all the time. And I'm going to let you speak to it because you were around during the Billy Graham thing more than I was. My Billy Graham experience. I'm sorry, guys. I'm falling all over the place. I'm trying to do something. I can't reach it. My Billy Graham experience was the karate Billy Graham, right? Because Jimmy was like, "Oh, wait till you see this guy, Billy Graham." And he shows up. He looks like this, and I'm like, "Yeah, the fuck, what are you talking about?" And he stopped doing the juice. He wasn't working out. Anyway, long story short, at some points, Billy, as WWE champion, was loaded. His daughter says they lived in this great house, but he was not a very good father. He didn't pay child support. He met his present wife before he passed. He was married to her for a very long time. He left his wife. That happens. We all get that. Not a big deal. But he didn't take care of his kids. And at some point, even when he was on his deathbed, his son finally forgave him. And I was disappointed to hear that, we had seen things with Billy Graham, whether it be through social media or whatever else. And you and I had some problems with him, actually.
True. That's
So,
true.
Jimmy, I'm going to turn this over to you. Basically, I want you to give your insight on the great superstar Billy Graham and your thoughts about him just not being a very good guy.
Billy Graham. Billy Graham goes back to the earliest days that I got a chance to even watch professional wrestling. Wherever Billy Graham did go, he was over to certain degrees, one way or the other. The guy was born to be an entertainer, years ahead of his time with his look. He was definitely a little too soon. But at the same time, Hogan was going to come one way or the other. And I don't think that Superstar Graham would have been able to outshine Hulk Hogan before we get crazy rewriting history. He wasn't a transitional champion. That's also very important. The transitional champions would be reserved for the names of a Koloff or a Stasiak, who briefly, or Iron Sheik, who would briefly win the title to get the next long-term project in. Graham did something and it's amazing to me that he did it in the late 70s when it was not happening, where a heel was over with the fans and they loved him, and he held the belt as a heel for almost a year. Uh, Unheard of. It never had happened in Vince Senior's company, and it certainly wasn't a habit to put a strap on a guy long term in those days. And without Graham, there's no Hogan. Hogan will be the first to tell you that. Okay, without Graham, there's no Jesse the Body. He melted down at the end of his life, and yes, we did have problems with him. He would put Facebook posts up that were just so self-centered and so off kilter that you knew that he was undergoing mental destabilization. And it was sad. You know, we wanted him on the show, and for some reason, he took umbrage with us and our approach on the show when other folks that have also had plenty of problems in their lives, like a New Jack, completely supported us, and got what we were doing. Superstar Graham never came off that ledge with us for some reason, which was very heartbreaking in a way. He was a legend. He was born to be an entertainer. Now, as far as his personality and what he did with his family and stuff, I find it very intriguing that before he was Superstar Graham, he was a preacher. So he knew the moral rules. He knew. He taught them. To get so immersed in his character, to pull a Ric Flair, because let's face it, it's like that for some. He had an over-the-top superhero character that he completely immersed himself in, and it swallowed up his personal life. He forgot completely where he came from. When you're a preacher, if you're a real preacher and have understood the moral codes in the books, you know what you're doing when you're doing it. You know when you're doing wrong. You know it. So I'm amazed by that. Superstar Graham turned out to be a car crash in a life where most of the time that beautiful 68 Mustang was roaring down the highway doing 95 and there ain't no cop in sight. It's sad at the end of the day the way his life ended. But he was absolutely a polarizing, legendary figure that without him, perhaps we don't even have a Hulk Hogan. Mike?
I love what you're saying there, Jimmy. I will say this though. I think to myself, tale of two people, right? We just spoke to Holly Von Erich about Kerry, and Kerry was this loving father who wanted to be around his kids. And here's a guy like superstar Billy Graham that he did not want to be anything but superstar Billy Graham, even at the expense of his own children. Funny thing is, the wrestling experts, we could talk about a few things. One of the big things for the older wrestling fans, and we could ask everybody in the chat or whoever's watching throughout all social media, the belief was, what a mistake. They should have kept the belt around superstar Billy Graham instead of going with Bob Backlund. I don't know why Vince McMahon Sr. wanted to do that. In my opinion, we've heard all the stories. that, Vince just stuck to his plan and he was going to make it work because he was that, egotistical, father like son, I guess. But the reality of it is Bob Backlund was the right choice. Superstar Billy Graham, number one, could not be trusted. Okay. This is clear by just the way everything he did after all of it fell apart.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Backlund, whose career pretty much ended after his 5-year role as champion before he came back as a heel, he could have reacted like Billy Graham and went on the attack. He didn't go on the attack. He just went and did business, and that was it. Business was business. So Graham, number one, couldn't be trusted. Two, they spoke about on the documentary, Vince McMahon gave Billy Graham numerous chances, and then Billy Graham would just stab him in the back over and over and over again. And, we know that to be true also. So, when the wrestling experts went number one, they said they should have kept the belt on him. That would have been a big mistake because my belief is if they kept it on Billy Graham, it would have been way too close to Hulkamania. And Hulkamania would not nearly been as strong as it ended up being. That's my opinion only. It's all, number two is, the wrestling experts out there to talk about, Vince McMahon's a scumbag. These guys made him all this money. He never took care of him. Vince McMahon, you heard Tony Atlas. He brought him back in as Saba Simba. Again, the stupid thing, they were trying to embarrass him. No, man, at that time, it wasn't a good gimmick. We all understand it. He should have came in as Tony Atlas. But the reality of it is they were all characters at that time. He brought in Superstar Billy Graham, and Superstar Billy Graham came back as a karate guy and just showed that he had no commitment to anything but Superstar Billy Graham. And then he comes back. You remember when he comes back later on? Juiced out of his mind. I mean, it was just a giant muscle. I mean, come on. It's so bad that his bones started to deteriorate.
Right.
So personally, watching his kids being angry like they were, I'm like, wow, how selfish can one human being be that you'd rather be Superstar Billy Graham? That's only my point, Jimmy.
Well, it's just like Rick. I hate to say it, but it's true. Ric Flair is Ric Flair. That's that. And it's happened to others. It's broken up great bands. I mean, egos get involved, and it's like, nope, this is who I look what Axl Rose did to Guns N' Roses. Guns N' Roses was the baddest bad motherfucking rock band on the planet, and Axl Rose blew it to smithereens because it had to be about Axl Rose. Ruined everything. And I'm a huge fan of Axl Rose, by the way, but it's just the facts. Ruined it. And Mike is out in outer space, but he might be back now. You there, big guy?
I'm back. Sorry about I don't know what.
See, there I had to go. Is he back, or should I just continue the script?
The way the internet is playing with me right now, I was pissed off on the first show was happening, and now it's already dropped. I don't know how many times. It's funny now, Jimmy. I could tell when it's about to go out because when I put up pictures and I try to take them down, it stops. Like even now when I'm switching the screens here, it's delaying.
Yeah.
So I know it's about to drop on me. But the good thing is, I will say that it keeps going, so it doesn't actually interrupt the show. So if you just keep talking, we're good to go. Right.
All right, great.
All right, let's talk about something other than Superstar Billy Graham. Let's talk about WrestleMania 41. We haven't had a chance to talk to anybody how we felt about this show. Saturday night, Sunday night, WrestleMania, what the world's been waiting for. Jimmy, overall evaluation on WrestleMania, sir.
It was okay. I mean, I don't think it's as bad as some people are making out. There were some bad aspects of it, but the consensus seems to be on the internet that it was no good. I don't fully agree with that. I thought it was okay. Most of it made sense to me. There's a few things that didn't. I mean, how angry can we be, Mike? We almost swept the board when it came to what we thought would happen. I think it was the execution of a few things that really bothered the shit out of me, but we'll get to those as we break down the matches.
That's a really good analysis.
All right, looks like Mike's going out. So WrestleMania, was it a flop? I don't think it was a flop personally. I thought it was you know. We got Cody and John Cena in the big main event. I got a problem with this Travis Scott stuff. I'm sorry, or whatever the fuck his name is. He never should have been involved in the first place in
Sorry,
this whole
that's number 4.
number 4. Where'd you go, bud? You back with me, bro? I was going on a spiel like you told me to do.
Dropped for the 4th time. You know what? I'm back.
All right.
Good. Where were you? I'm sorry.
Well, basically, I just started talking about Cody and Travis Scott, who I can't fucking stand. Yeah, Travis Scott.
What don't you like about Travis Scott? I mean, I understand you don't, but what don't you like about Travis?
Well, what's the point of inserting him in anything? You know, in the past with WrestleMania, when it's been a star involved in an angle, at least in the past, it was like a Mr. T, or Muhammad Ali's involved as a ref, or Floyd Mayweather, or whoever. But who's this guy? And why is he involved in such an important match and situation? So when he first inserted himself a few months back, I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? And then you have something as important as John Cena going for his 17th championship, and Cody Rhodes, who finished his story and has been a champion for a year. And this guy comes out during this incredibly important match and just takes his time. My God, we could have had a full barbecue by the time we got to the ring. And then I realized what my partner told me earlier this week is that, you got to get his whole song in. So let him take 6 years to get out to the fucking ring. Why is he there? Cody should have been allowed to beat the shit out of him for the crap he pulled a couple of months back. There's none of that. There's a love tap and a crossroads. It's like, okay, what the fuck is this? Cody's got a chance to hit him with the belt. Oh, he won't do it because he's a good guy. He's a cinnamon roll. Oh, he's sweet as sugar. And John hits him with the belt. We could have done all of this with The Rock. Where the fuck was The Rock? And by the way, The Rock informing that dumbass LaGreca that it's a work and it's always been a work and it always will be a work. Yeah, no duh, Rock. But you still should have been there instead of Travis Scott. What the fuck do we need to see Travis Scott for? The Rock should have been coming down to that ring and causing chaos or whatever. And John Cena winning was the best. That's all there is to it. I found myself over the years hating John Cena. I never rooted for him. I root for him now. I loved it. I thought it was an appropriate ending, but it's how we got there. Blech. So yeah, that left a bad taste in everybody's mouth. But for Mr. Know-It-All Dave Meltzer to come out and go, it's the worst WrestleMania of all time. No, it's not. What, you missed the toga party at WrestleMania 9? Dave, the fuck are you talking about? What do you need, more sound bites? You haven't made enough money bullshitting off the fucking business? Get the fuck out of here. Oh, my God. The Triple Threat Women's match. Yeah. There was a couple of botches during that, and the crowd was basically, kaput. Felt like filler, just like Mike says, pretty much filler. By the way, who are the people that picked AJ Styles to beat Logan Paul? Whatever you're smoking, mail it to me directly. That would be nice, because I don't know anybody who would think that AJ Styles would beat Logan Paul at this point in his career. Whether you like it or not, and it seems like some people don't like it, Logan Paul's awesome. He's awesome at what he does. He's great. He's great with the promos. He's great with the wrestling. He's great. He's beaten top tier talent, and he gives on top tier matches. I mean, what is the issue there? You there with me, Mikey? I hear spattering or something.
I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry about this. My internet keeps dropping. I don't know what the hell's gonna.
Yeah, that's all right. I spearheaded through the women's match, and I was talking about Logan Paul. If you're still there, I'm wondering. He looks kind of hazy.
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Are you sure you're there? Well, anyways, Mike still struggles. I'm sure you folks out there would all agree that Travis Scott was not necessary, and Logan Paul is here to stay one way or the other. What else did we have over the WrestleMania thing? You know what? It was kind of easy to see what was going on here. The couple of things that we missed on Charlotte Flair not getting the belt. I don't really get that. I'm not really sure why Charlotte was brought back. What is the purpose of that? The match was underwhelming too, which is surprising. I was hoping for something better. Tiffany is obviously, where they plan to go. But who's their next opponent? Is it Becky because she's turned heel? But isn't she on another? I'm so confused as to where they're going to go with that. It's hard to figure out. So that was a bit of a surprise. We got El Grande Americano, right? At least we got that. But I think we did pretty good on the card there, Mike. If you're still out there with me.
Yeah, can you hear me? I'm back.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, we did good on the card, but the problem is, Jimmy, sometimes it seems like every time I'm jacked up for something, I'm really excited, especially with wrestling in general. It's always a letdown, whether it's a wrestling movie or wrestling. I was very excited for this weekend. Forget about getting fake wrestling right. Who cares, right? But I was excited because I thought there could be so much fun going on here. I know you went through a lot of the matches, so I apologize. And I think I finally got the internet fixed. But
Okay.
night one opened up with Gunther, right? And
Yeah.
and Jay. Right?
Travesty.
And
Yeah.
that match in itself, Jimmy, was
A travesty.
not very good.
It's a travesty. Like
I was disappointed in that match.
Again, it goes back to the way they got there. Like, I understand you're going to put the strap on Jey Uso. I figured that would happen. But to have Gunther tapping out like quickly to Jey Uso is a joke. It's an absolute joke, Gunther cannot be tapping out to Jey Uso to begin with. You couldn't just have him do his stupid splash or whatever, his spear or whatever the fuck he does nowadays and have him beat him. A very frustrating ending to, and I know it's wrestling. We suspend our belief. But I'm sorry. Gunther should not be tapping out to Jey Uso. And by the way, those spears are the weakest fucking spears out of anybody who uses a spear. I was thinking about Goldberg spearing people, Roman Reigns spearing people, Edge spearing people. And I look at Jey Uso's spear and I'm like, no. It's not the feeling I get like when Braun Breaker hits somebody in the rib cage. And then on top of it, Gunther is tapping out. It's just ridiculous, where they went to get the strap around him. You could have done that a lot more believable. But that's the wrestling nerd in me. I thought that was a shit way to book Gunther.
What do you think the mindset was that he had to tap out? Why couldn't he just take 4 frog splashes and just lose?
Yeah, I don't understand it. I don't. Maybe they're trying to make Jay look stronger because people are like, oh, so what happens with Jay now? And I'm already thinking ahead, and I'm thinking to myself, at some point, just like Kevin, at some point, Sammy is going to get a world title somehow. Sammy has earned one. I can see Sammy turning on Jay and becoming champion. And then Gunther returning and taking it from Sammy. Like it goes full circle. More drama with the Sammy Gunther history. I could see that. If that's the end result of this, to make Jay look a little stronger, to make Sammy turning on him a little more emotional or whatever, I still disagree. But if the end result is Gunther eventually takes the world title back, we'll live with it the way we lived with when Sammy beat him for the Intercontinental title. I ain't happy about it. But Gunther must be returned to the level he was on.
The whole point, I could have cared less that Gunther lost, right? That's fine. Okay. I just don't like it. Wasn't a very good match. It just wasn't that good. And then we go straight into Jade Cargill against Naomi. Naomi, which you even said you're not a fan of, but she's a very good wrestler.
Yeah.
Jade Cargill is not getting any better, Jimmy. She's just not, in my
Really?
opinion.
Because I felt like I'm not expecting her to get better, but what I am expecting from her is to be serviceably solid. And I felt like she was during that match. And I said, okay, if you can give this every time, and the crowd popped when she won. I love how she pinned somebody, by the way, with that leaning back like Ace Frehley with the guitar, the spinal, bendage. If she could just give me that every time, I'm fine with her. I don't want her to be Ariel. We talked about Jordan Grace, shut up and wrestle. I want Jade to just be power, safe, and convincing. I don't think that there's that much to ask from her. She doesn't need to be Bret Hart.
That's a good comment. How about I thought the match of the night was not the match of the night, but a very good match was El Americano, right?
Well,
Our friend
that's
Chad Gable. I mean, I thought that match was excellent.
well, that's because Chad Gable is a wrestling machine. He is, and he was in the ring with a wrestling machine. Phoenix. I don't know how much
Yes.
tape you've seen from my God, from Phoenix's career. Maybe Ricochet would. If Ricochet was smart enough to go back to his Prince Puma character, he probably can't because Lucha Underground owns the rights or whatever. Put your fucking mask on and go back in and fly around. Now it looks more convincing. Because Ricochet's biggest failure was taking the mask off. So yeah, Chad Gable and Phoenix in the same ring. Come on, no surprise there.
Here's a match I really didn't understand.
Let
You have
down.
Charlotte Flair come back from injury. She wins the Royal Rumble. This one we got wrong, but that's not the point. It made no sense. Number one, let's be honest, folks. Whether you're on Tiffy time, right, which is fine, she's not that good of a wrestler. She's slow, gorgeous to look at. She's got some really good move sets, but overall, she's no Charlotte Flair. Charlotte was held back by her, and I don't know, man. I felt like Charlotte needed to win that match and have Tiffy chase her to SummerSlam, go through a whole bunch of stuff, get a little more time in. But now where do you go with this? Who's she fighting with now? Shayna Baszler? I mean, what are we doing here? You just fucking finished Charlotte Flair off. I don't get it.
Well, I hope that Triple H isn't taking a page out of Cody's title run where every match is a safe one and we already know Tiffany's going to win. How about that?
I feel like they're really trying to make a transition from the Four Horsewomen because all of a sudden they pull Bayley from the match and they bring Becky in. I guess for a cheap pop, right? What is her name? Lyra Valkyrie is her name? Lyra Valkyrie?
Yeah. Well, now Becky's a heel, so is she going to switch show? I don't know what's going on here. I don't know.
I got to ask you this. What is the WWE or Triple H and Shawn Michaels love for Lyra Valkyrie? This girl's getting a push all the time.
I don't know. I don't see it yet. It hasn't captured me. So your guess is as good as mine. At least with Tiffany, I think Tiffany's awesome.
Tiffany makes all the sense in the world, but I'm telling you, they really should have put that belt on Charlotte. It made no sense to me.
Right.
It just made no sense.
I mean, what are they going to do? Send Alexa Bliss after her or something now? I don't know what they're going to do. It doesn't make any sense.
I don't. Again, anything that like you said, whoever she wrestles now, she's going to win. She's not going to lose to anybody. So what's the point? Just have her just do Cody, like you said. Terrible decision. Made no sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's not going to be able to pull it off the way Cody did because Cody could fucking wrestle.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, Cody's run was fine because the matches were great. We kind of knew Cody would walk out of there to win.
And again, I'm so sick of hearing how Tiffany got back at Charlotte in Chicago. The fans got Charlotte. Tiffany didn't.
No,
Tiffany's mic skills are not very good. She's gorgeous. She's got some good movesets. She's an okay wrestler. She's got very bad mic skills. When she used to be the highfalutin Tiffy time and said a few words, she was cool as shit. The more she opens her mouth, the worse she gets, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, she's a work in progress, and they're going to put the time in. Let's see what the end product winds up being.
And I agree. She should get the work put into her, but not like this.
Yeah, not
it's
like
just
this.
Like,
now
you're going to have a champion. Agree. It's just like your champion's supposed to be the top of the top, right?
Right. I agree.
So we saw the main event, the triple threat, Roman, Seth, Punk. Thoughts on
Great.
that?
Great. Fucking great. Ended the way we thought it would too. Just a great match with the right winner, and I loved what they did. You know, it was just a great closing to the and that's why it was the main event. You know, it's funny. I remember you asking me, do you think that Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton can surpass and be the main event? No. Well, and there's the proof. Look at those three. No. I see a Punk strikes again. Roman Reigns, a machine for the last 10 years as far as his in-ring work. He's a machine. And Seth Rollins, as we've discussed many times, really is the Shawn Michaels who never acted up and had to be sent away or had a terrible back injury. He's the Shawn Michaels of that fucking locker room as far as when we want a top-tier, truly top-tier star that can give us a 5-star match that is a worker and is loyal as fuck. It's Seth freaking Rollins. Leaving with Heyman, just one more, feather in his cap to his legendary career.
Great comment, Jimmy. You're 100% right. Great comment. And I got to tell you, if it wasn't for that match, night one would have been below average. Like, I was really disappointed. That
Agreed.
match actually saved it for me. Did I like the ending so much?
I was fine with it.
I was okay. Jimmy, you knew, I knew Seth Rollins was going to be. I was hoping for something so dramatic, excitement. You know, again, it was only hopes and prayer. Did I really think it was going to happen? No. So when he turned and went to Seth, we knew it was going to happen. But again, it was a solid match.
It was.
I don't know.
It
I
was
just
a
was
great
very
match. The crowd
disappointed
went
in
nuts.
night one. Night one was just
Yeah.
really bad, dude. It was just so bad.
was
So
okay.
night two opens up with the women's triple threat, which, in my opinion, was as good as the men's triple threat, if not better. I got to be honest with you. I was like, if this is how night two is going to start, WrestleMania is going to be everything that we're expecting.
Right. Well, it was a great match. There's no doubt about that. It was a great, great match, but I can't stand the end result. I was pissed. I was like, what? Why? I want the strap on Bianca, to be very honest. Rhea don't need nothing. You know what I mean? Rhea don't. I guess the one who needs it the most is Io, if this is how you plan on pushing people. But I wasn't.
No, you know what? They revealed their hand. They revealed their hand. They revealed their hand on Monday night. They're going to put her against these smaller wrestlers. You can't put Bianca and Rhea against some of these NXT girls, right? They're bringing in these smaller girls. I'm telling you, they're making the push now, the changeover. They're bringing the NXT, these NXT women's from Roxanne Perez to, all of them. They're making a push. And let's be honest with you. Roxanne Perez standing up against Rhea Ripley is not believable at all. No. Io Sky gets away with it, in my opinion, because she can move around like a cat, right? So it's like she just gets away with stuff.
Right. Kind of like Asuka, right? I mean, in a way. I mean, Asuka's not as aerial, but Asuka definitely had badass factor. Io's got badass factor. She does. She's got badass factor, but not with Rhea and Bianca in the ring with her. Get out of here.
I agree.
I feel like the strap should have gone around Bianca. And it's funny, I never, on a rooting level, I would be wanting Rhea to walk out of there with the belt, quite honestly. But it was a great match. I just hated the end result.
I agree with you, Jimmy. All right, then I think we had Drew McIntyre. The Drew McIntyre match against Damian Priest was after that one.
Yeah, well, my highlight was Kerry King coming out. I was like, wow, Kerry King.
Who?
Fucking Slayer, bro.
Oh, you like that, huh? You really liked that, didn't you?
Well, it's
wow.
Slayer. Well, what's wrong with you? It's Slayer. It's Kerry King from Slayer. I was like, whoa, Kerry's here. Cool. Very cool. But then the match happened. The match was good. I mean, I didn't go to the bathroom like you were like, this is my bathroom break match. It wasn't my It wasn't my bathroom break match. Look, it was there. The right guy won. It was fine. I wasn't like, guys, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen, but it was certainly more effort than Brock Lesnar gave against Dean Ambrose all those years ago.
That's
Whant,
true.
whant,
I,
you know?
I thought it was a good solid match. You
Yeah,
had
it was
Jake Paul
fun.
against AJ Styles.
Yeah, well, some people were so-called experts thought AJ was going to win this. Whoa, what?
That's
What?
ridiculous.
What kind of expert are you? I mean, what, the Milwaukee Brewers are winning the World Series too? What are you talking?
AJ's in his transition time, dude,
Yeah,
and
he's
there's nothing wrong with that, right? He's
putting
a
people.
solid guy.
Yeah, he's putting people over. It doesn't harm his legacy at all. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer going in.
Four-way match: Braun Breaker losing his Intercontinental title to Dominic Mysterio.
Well, this I loved, and we called this, Dominic winds up pinning Finn. Had to pin Finn. That's the way it should have worked. And I love the pop that Dominic got. I'm like, there you go. People will cheer for Dominic.
I gotta tell you, Jimmy, you were on it with all your calls. You did a really good job, and I gotta tell you, as night 2 was going, I thought every match was fantastic. Let's go back to night 1. We forgot about the War Raiders against New Day, which was just another awful match. I thought.
You got me fucking yawning when you bring it up because the War Raiders make me yawn.
Well,
It's
I don't think you have to do it anymore.
Say War Raiders again. Say it.
War Raiders. War Raiders.
Herman Munster. Oh, God.
So then what did we have after that? We had Liv Morgan and was that the first night, Roy? Wasn't it?
Here comes my bathroom break. Who gives a shit? By the way, the New Day won the right call. Find something more interesting than the Liv Morgan meeting.
I gotcha. And then when we go to the main event was Cody Rhodes, which you spoke about earlier, against John Cena. Yeah. I thought Cena looked awfully slow, but he kept it old school, which was okay. In my opinion, it was okay.
It was fine. I thought it was fine.
I just thought I thought that match needed more. Listen, if the Rock. That's it. If the Rock comes out, all's forgiven.
It needed the Rock. Instead, we got, here comes Boogeyman with his voodoo. Where the hell is his snake and his cauldron? I'm like, get this fucking guy out of here.
What did you think about the Rock's comments on Pat McAfee's show saying once he was asked to come back for Elimination Chamber. That's why they came up with this gimmick, and because for ticket sales, and he wanted them to be able to carry it on for WrestleMania. Or you think The Rock is just getting to this point where he just doesn't want to be a bad guy? He wants just people to love him all the time.
And it wound up happening on Monday night instead of at the match. I told you that I felt that if you're really going to do anything that makes wrestling sense, that Randy Orton will get in a ring with John Cena during his retirement run, period. John is Batman, Randy is Joker, and it's been going on forever, and it's their ultimate matchup between the two of them. Their greatest rival is each other.
By the way, Joe Henry against Randy Orton. What you think of that?
Beautiful, beautiful. Loved every second. I believe in Joe Henry. I try to say his name around the house all the time. He never appears. He never appears. I'm like,
but here was the problem, and we discussed this earlier. I believe in Joe Henry too, but just don't put him up against Randy Orton because it looked like Andre the Giant against Quick Draw Rick McGraw. It was like, oh boy, this is ugly.
It's funny too because I was looking at videos of Joe in the ring and some past videos and stuff. He weighs 252. He's a big guy. He's not like muscle steroid look, but he's a big guy. And Randy standing next to Randy, it's like, you go. Can I quote Larry Zbyszko? You gotta be kidding me,
But here's something I didn't understand. I really thought they should have made that a TNA title match and let Randy win it, and now Randy gets number 15, right?
No, don't bother Randy with a TNA title. Randy would be laughing at you.
It's a world title.
Randy would be laughing at you. He'd be like, now what am I doing that for, Mike?
So we can have him chase John Cena for 17?
No, what they really should have done was just tell the rapper to go home and think about getting into some other fucking form of entertainment, okay? That's the first thing they should have done. And during the match, this is how I felt it should have gone. During the match, and it's a good match, they're having a great match, blah, 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 blah. Randy slowly rolls in the ring when the referee's been knocked out accidentally or whatever the fuck, and gives Cody an RKO. Looks at John and goes, you owe me. And rolls out of the ring, and John's a bad guy. So John's not going to be like, wow, I can't believe you just did that. I'm not going to cover him. Of course, John's going to cover him.
Right.
He wins the title, And then Randy goes, "You owe me that favor." And guess what that favor is? He gives him another RKO on Monday night. You know, I mean, that would have made more sense than having Travis
But you
Scott
know what,
come out
dude?
there.
You called that. You called that on our show. You called it on
I did.
ESPN. Essentially, you were right. It ended up on Raw anyway. It was the same. It was the
That's how we
same
got
thing,
there.
right?
Same end result. Yeah, but why
Yeah.
Travis Scott? Why have him at all? Why have him at all? You
Well,
can't
because
tell
they
the
had
man
to have
cares.
outside interference, and The Rock wasn't going to show up. So you know what really comes
Randy
out to
do
be,
it.
dude, is that they put The Rock in this fucking storyline, and at some point he goes, I'm not doing it. I got a movie to make. Who knows? I don't know. It's
Right.
like dumb. It was dumb.
Yeah,
And
I
again,
thought so.
then stop using these guys then. Just stop using these guys.
Right.
But I will tell you, though,
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel like the worm is turning, Jimmy. I feel like, you know how you have these ebbs and flows in wrestling? I feel like we're kind of coming down now. I feel like it's kind of starting to slip and fall.
Well, you're going to come down after the Bloodline storyline. I don't think it's slipping and falling. I think it's kind of like just levitating right now. Will it go up again? I don't know. I don't know what that will take. You know, John's been hammering it home over and over again, and we've discussed it over the years. I'm the last great champion. Might be something to that. You know, Roman has been great, but Roman's not John, you know, at the end of the day. So the product has changed. It's more about the company brand than it is the individual. For it to go into a stratosphere would probably require a Hogan or a Rock or an Austin or, you know, something, or Cena or something like that. And I don't think that the WWE is in the habit of doing that anymore. And Vince Sr. started that, and I think Triple H is continuing that no individual is bigger than the company. And they seem to be very aware of that. They almost purposely don't make them any bigger.
Again, it's hard to disagree with you, Jimmy. Everything you're saying is spot on. You're hitting it. You're hitting it home all the time. So
Company.
What am I going to say? What am I going to say? All I know is that Cody Rhodes should have popped that dude, like give him a black eye or something. I don't know.
Should've.
Overall, I'll tell you this: WrestleMania to me was a B minus, with some really solid matches and lots of disappointments, failures of expectations. See, that's the one thing Vince McMahon, as much as people bitch and moan about that guy, he always gave you the surprise that you needed to come out of WrestleMania feeling good, whether it be the Ultimate Warrior running in or this dude happening or that one happening. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, Vince didn't always succeed, but Vince certainly swung for the fences a lot more aggressively than what we've seen, you know, since Triple H took over. Such is life. I mean, there's only one Vince McMahon, you know. I still am very happy with what Triple H
I
does.
honestly, Jimmy, I feel like Triple H in his mind thinks that he can NXT his way into, like, he really thinks the hardcore wrestling fans are going to keep loving this. And I'm going to tell you something, without the entertainment portion of it, it's just going to be another AEW. And I know I'm starting to make it sound a lot worse than it is because it's not nearly as bad.
It's not that. It's
But
not that at all.
the mindset is there. Like, you need to bring, like, what are you bringing Stone Cold? Save that $1 million and give it to somebody else. What, to drive around on his freaking four-wheeler and run into the wall so someone sues them? I mean, come on. I mean, please, enough.
You know, Triple. I'll tell you what, though, we're not discussing this, but I mean, Raw was fantastic. All right, Raw was all the surprises. Raw was all the things we wanted out of WrestleMania weekend. And I ran this by Coach from ESPN earlier today. I was like, you know what, Coach? As weird as it sounds, some of the stuff that we weren't happy about was being set up for Monday. So when we look at WrestleMania, and you know, just as those 2 days, we're like, yeah, what the fuck? But then you watch Monday night, and they do all this shit, and it's like, oh, so that's why you did what you did. Okay, you know, but I guess, what do you call that? The appendix or whatever to the storylines or whatever, but it's part of the WrestleMania weekend. One way or the other, the night after WrestleMania has become part of the WrestleMania weekend, an extension thereof.
Real quick before we go, thoughts on Rusev coming back to the WWE?
I'm very happy that he's back. You know, I don't know if you caught my Facebook post. I was like 5 years down the drain with Fanboy Tony. Welcome home. You know, hopefully they give him a decent push, you know, and he'll be a U.S. or Intercontinental champion. Look, I want him back out there with Lana. I'm sure you do too, you know. And he looks good. He looks good. Look,
Looks
listen,
great. Looks great.
listen,
Looks great.
listen. They fucked him in AEW. I don't know what the hell went on over there. Now, maybe they paid him, but they certainly didn't know what to do with him. That was 5. You realize for 5 years they wasted him?
You know what's so funny, Jimmy? Tony Khan does exactly what I thought if I ever ran an NFL team.
Yeah.
Like if a guy gave me a hard time and like, you know, was holding out or whatever else, I'd bench him, wouldn't trade him, and let him just rot on the bench until his career is over. Like I always thought about that. And Tony Khan does that with the wrestlers. He just says, okay, I'm just going to bench you and let you sit there and then your wrestling career is over. The only difference is that I don't think these guys like, you know, they go home and they play video games and they make money off of social media. So whatever.
Well, say what you want about Vince, but when Vince was done with somebody, he set them fucking free, whether he liked them or not, and he fucking moved on. You know, I mean, there came a time where Vince realized, I got to set Hulk Hogan free. I'm going to have to adapt. I got to set Bret Hart free. All right, he's a prick. I don't like the way he left, so I'll fuck him just as hard as he's fucked me. You know, I saw an interview with Triple H recently where he talked about when Vince had shared this with him being a son-in-law, when Vince was younger, Vince got ass fucked over and over again. And we've discussed these guys, whether it was Bruno, whether it was superstar Billy Graham, whatever. He got so betrayed by people he made wealthy and was at least paying them and not publicly trying to shame them. And these motherfuckers turned around and really stuck him in the back. Vince's guard over the years became his fence, became higher and higher and higher because he had to deal with a ruthless business, and the only way to succeed was to be more ruthless than the ruthless pricks around him. And he became the ultimate ruthless prick. You can hate him all you want, but he's a microcosm of this fucking business. Everybody is always looking to stab everybody else. Don't tell me the territory guys wouldn't have eaten each other alive. They were trying
we spoke
to eat
about
each
these
other
guys
alive.
will drain you from any. They'll drain you from any penny you got, man. And Vince just knew better, right? I mean, come on. And, you know, by the way, we should have knew how WrestleMania was We should have knew how WrestleMania was going to go because I got to tell you, this year's Hall of Fame was awful. Some of the worst introduction speeches I've ever. It opened up with DDP on Lex Luger.
Yeah,
I got to tell you, I thought DDP was a motivational speaker. That guy was awful. And then you move on to like, you know, I don't know. We'll use Shawn Michaels. That introduction was so bad, Jimmy. Yeah. It was just awful. And then the speeches themselves. I mean, Luger's speech was I thought Earthquake's family was nice, and Fred Ottman, Tugboat was very emotional.
I bet he was.
Still not very great. Not to knock anybody. They just weren't the best speeches. Right. And then Michelle McCool was on there for literally, I think, 40 minutes. Undertaker did not give a good introduction speech for his wife.
I saw it.
She was okay. Yeah, she was okay. And then Shawn Michaels introducing Triple H. It was just bad. It was bad. Sorry. Bad Hall of Fame. Disappointing. And I love that Hall of Fame too.
Yeah, well, you know what too? They got to stop with this backdooring bullshit too. I'm sorry. I know it's a personal beef of mine, but the backdooring of huge names is bullshit. Don't like it. Bottom line, I wonder if they even invited the Koloff family there. Did they? You know?
I don't think so.
Because I could tell you for a fact when Wahoo was inducted, the McDaniels weren't contacted. When Brody was inducted, I could tell you for a fact through Barbara that she wasn't contacted.
Dude, I also have to. I understand, and you're 100% right. But we also have to understand this is a business. You know, unfortunately, in today's generation, Wahoo McDaniel is not going to bring attention to the show they're having. Ivan Koloff is not bringing attention to the show they're having. Michelle McCool, unfortunately, is.
No, she's not. The only thing she brought was bad attention, and everybody knows she's not a Hall of Famer, and it's a rub for her husband.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
The end. It's garbage.
I agree with you.
You know, that's my take. I'm not going to budge from that. That's just
You think
nonsense.
you think the natural disasters are Hall of Famers?
I told you about this
Are the
already.
natural disasters Hall of Famers?
I think that earthquake is. I don't remember the natural disasters as when being a dominant for a long time. Look, they're not demolition. They're not the Road Warriors. They're not. They're not the Rock and Roll Express. They're not the Midnight Express. They're not the Freebirds. They're not. I mean, I could go on. They're not the Dudley Boys. They're not Edge and Christian. They're not. I could go on and on and on. You know, but Earthquake, yeah, I think Earthquake is a Hall of Famer. That's my take. I'm sorry.
With that, Jimmy,
You know?
let's call it a night. Great job.
Yeah.
I want to thank everybody for hanging out us on the.
Did you freeze on the outro? Folks, he froze on the outro. You've been watching Monte and the Pharaoh and Mike some of the time. And until next time, I want to say later. Later. Mike, come back. Come back. Bunny rabbit. Later.